Hey, what's up, everyone? This is me, Dre. Just gonna go back for my lunch, have Whataburger. Look, if y'all aren't Texas residents and y'all have never had Whataburger, you don't know what you're missing, because that shit is good. Anyhow, I wanted to make this video because I was on my Facebook feed, and we all know with everything that's going on with Colin Kaepernick, and I've done one or two videos, maybe one video about how I felt with his stance. But right now, I saw on my Facebook feed that Shaquille O'Neal weighed in on Colin Kaepernick. Basically said that he doesn't agree with what Colin Kaepernick did. He didn't really trash him, but at the same time, he basically said that he wouldn't have done that because he's got family members that are in law enforcement. His father was in the military. But Colin Kaepernick made it abundantly clear that he respects U.S. service members because he's got family that serves or has served in the military. So he's not trashing the military service members, and he's not saying that America is a terrible thing. What he's saying is that there needs to be change in America because of the injustices. Now, what really got me about Shaquille O'Neal is he's got a much greater platform. His career spanning over 20 years in the NBA. You would think that he would be able to reach out, seeing all of these injustices. He's remained silent on the subject. It's almost like police. People are always saying, well, there's good cops and there's bad cops. But the problem is this: the good cops, seeing all of this happen, especially with not necessarily the advent of body cams, but with the requirement for a lot of law enforcement agencies to have law enforcement, or you have a dash cam and you see the police brutality happening right in front of you for no justifiable reason, just the killing of black men and women, Latino men and women, Native Americans, because we really don't talk much about that, but that's something that's happening. And there's a story about Native Americans going on right now. But good cops, when they remain silent to what the bad cops are doing, that makes them just as complicit. And Shaquille O'Neal is overlooking this. So he's saying that he wouldn't have done this, but he's seeing all of these injustices, and he's not using his platform to speak out about these injustices. So he's on, I don't know if it's Good Morning America, whatever, but one of the hosts of the show was asking him how he felt about it, and saying a lot of black people would think that he would be in accordance with Kaepernick. And I'm not saying that every black person is going to agree with what Kaepernick says. However, for those who, you would be remiss as a black person to not feel, or at least see, that what's happening in the news with unarmed black men and women being killed by law enforcement, there's a fucking problem. But if you're an athlete making millions of dollars and you remain silent on this fact, then shame on you. For someone like me who works a regular 9-to-5 job, I get my pay, and I think I get paid fairly decent. The things that I talk about are not represented by the company that I work for, and I'm not going to mention who I work for, but yes, a motherfucker does work. I have a very strong stance about things when it comes to my blackness and what happens with black people. It's not about black on black crime, because there's white on white crime. And again, I don't want to divert too far away from the subject. But with Shaquille O'Neal scorning another athlete because that athlete didn't necessarily come out at the beginning of his career to speak out about it, what does Shaquille O'Neal say about Shannon Sharpe? Because Shannon Sharpe has some very strong words about how he felt with what's going on with the injustices, talking about how he came up from nothing, being raised in Georgia, being poor. He said the one thing that always stood forth was the fact that he's black. That's the only thing that you see, because we have no money and then you have a strong career in the NFL like Shannon Sharpe did. What remained the same throughout his humble beginnings to his fame and fortune was the fact that he was a black man in America. And Shaquille O'Neal, the same thing. But for him to stand on stage, because for me it just feels like, with his sponsors watching, he didn't want to have a misstep to which he was going to lose his sponsorship from some of those companies. And it's not for me to say, because you're a millionaire, go ahead and set everything by the wayside and lose your sponsorship, lose all that money. But you're in a position of power, Shaquille, to speak out to America, because obviously if you feel so strong and you have America, white, black, Asian, what have you, clinging to your words, then your message would have rang stronger than Colin Kaepernick's himself. Because I guarantee you, more athletes will be on board with a presence like yours that speaks out against the injustices that are happening here in America, Shaquille O'Neal. But this is a shame on you moment, Shaquille O'Neal, because you had that opportunity to speak out and let the world understand that there's a problem here in America, yet you said nothing at all. And then you're going to have the audacity to scorn Colin Kaepernick because he chose not to sit, where he chose not to stand for the national anthem, whereas he stood at the beginning of his career. There's a lot of athletes that have done the same thing. You have the Seattle Seahawks with Richard Sherman. A while back, he was talking to, and he was not necessarily disparaging, but he was kind of scorning Black Lives Matter movement. And now Black Lives Matter, and he's standing with Colin Kaepernick with his message. But again, it's not like it's expected for every black person to stand and understand the message of Colin Kaepernick. But don't forget, even if you're black and you don't see or understand Colin Kaepernick's reason for doing what he's doing, then understand this. Look in the mirror and understand that no matter what happens, at the end of the day, if you're black, you're always going to be black. At some point in time, no matter what your belief is, whether you're conservative or liberal or and whatever the case is, there's going to always be a segment of America that will always see you as niggers, as thugs. First impressions, they're going to think that you're the worst of the worst. And that's what Colin Kaepernick is trying to bring awareness to. And if you don't see that, then you're just exacerbating the problem. Anyway, I got to get back to work. But if you like this video, I hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook. Peace.